Drive on KFYR Plus with sports director Luke Gamble. Sponsored by Trusted Tire and Auto.
Welcome into the Dakota Drive on this Monday afternoon, February 23rd. Excited to be here today. Excited for a fun show that we've got coming up. Obviously, we're hitting the postseason basketball stretch in stride, which is really exciting between college basketball wrapping up its regular season this weekend and high school basketball getting right into the postseason. We've got region tournaments starting today across North Dakota, and so we're going to have plenty of coverage of that on air throughout the week. But excited for the three guests that we have today. In case you haven't seen it, we've got three guests lined up. We're starting things off with Bryce Halberg from West Fargo. He drives in the ARCA Menard Series and recently got a chance to race at Daytona, I think for the fifth time. And what's unique is he drives a car that has NDSU decals on it and is sponsored by NDSU. And Bryce is actually a North Dakota State student majoring in engineering. And so I'm excited to get a chance to talk to him about racing at, a really high level. In case you don't know, ARCA Series is kind of right below, truck racing. So you have NASCAR driving, the middle class, it's changed so many names, Xfinity, and then truck racing, and then the ARCA Series. And so the ARCA Series, you're right outside of the big picture of what NASCAR really is. And so it's really cool that he's been doing this since 2021 in terms of his first ARCA Series race, but he's been driving for much longer than that. I think he was behind the wheel when he was 7 or 8 years old. And so I'm excited to get a chance to talk with Bryce because it's something that I've had on my radar for a really long time. And we tried to line it up for last week as he was coming back from Daytona, but it was actually when his flight was happening back from Daytona. And so now excited to get a chance to talk with Bryce and kind of catch up on his career and where he's at and just kind of what it means to represent NDSU, both as a student and in a race car, which I think is really awesome. And then we're going to get into some postseason basketball talk. Rick Newman from the University of Mary is going to join us. I think he's our first returning guest that we've had. So always cool to chat with Rick, but the University of Mary women wrapped up their regular season over the course of the weekend. They split the weekend series that they had, and now they go into the NSIC tournament as the number 4 seed with a really good chance to compete in Sioux Falls. And they're also getting some attention in the regional rankings as well. And so lots of high praise for UMary women's basketball right now. They have one of the best players in the country in Bergen Kennebrew, who's from right here in Bismarck. And so I just thought it'd be a good time to catch up with Rick as the Marauders get ready for the postseason and get ready to run and make a run at this thing in the NSIC tournament in Sioux Falls. And certainly they have a chance to do so. They're going to be on the same side of the bracket as the 1 seed, Mankato. The good news is UMary gets a bye. They don't have to play in that first round game, so they get to see two teams duke it out to see who's going to play against them. And then go down to Sioux Falls and go from there. The UMary men didn't make the tournament. Both Minot State men and women are in the tournament, but they'll have to play in that first rounds before they get a chance to play in Sioux Falls. So a lot of local representation. University of Jamestown Jimmies, they won't be playing as they're in that first year of joining the NSIC and making the leap to the Division II. So they're kind of in that probationary period where you don't get a chance to compete in the postseason. But had they been competing in the postseason, the Jamestown men would have been the number 1 team out of the North Division. They would have been the North Division champion. So I think that says a lot about Casey Brugman and where he has the men's program going, and then the women's program came to Bismarck and knocked off UMary over the course of the weekend. So both those programs are in really good spots moving forward as they make this full transition into the Division II level and kind of get things going in joining the NSIC and trying to make a splash there. And then our final guest of the day is going to be Kate Lemoyne. She graduated from Legacy High School, and she was a really good softball player. And when she was in high school, I thought that she was going to go play softball somewhere. She was also a good hockey player, and I don't think she realized maybe how good of a hockey player she was. And she's made a huge splash in her first year in college hockey. She's playing at Augustana, so playing ACHA ACHA hockey, but she is one of the top scorers in the country. She is top 10 in the country in scoring in ACHA women's hockey. And so Augustana's club hockey program for the women is growing. And Kate is excited to be a part of that. And honestly, having maybe even bigger part than she ever could have expected. So excited to talk to Kate. But we're going to talk to Bryce first. He just hopped on here, so we're going to get Bryce connected here. Coming off a 18th place finish in Daytona, so he's had a lot of success in Daytona, and now just kind of taking things to the next stage. And next up, he'll race that NDSU car in Talladega, which is still around the corner a little bit of a ways, but we're going to bring Bryce in here. First off, man, I mean, excited to have you on our show and get a chance to talk to you. I was just saying that this is something that I've wanted to talk with you for a while now, so it's cool to finally get the chance. I know that you've been doing this for a while, but does it ever get old getting a chance to go down to Daytona and get a chance to race on the track there?
No, I think every time I get the opportunity and the chance to go race Daytona, it's special every time. It's gotten to grow into a sort of tradition for my family to go down there every year, and I know my family loves to look forward to it and treat the beginning of the week as sort of a vacation, and then it's go time Thursday through Saturday at the racetrack.
Yeah. Well, obviously, growing up in North Dakota, you're a long way from Daytona. But how much I was, watching a video of you talking about learning to drive at 8 years old, or getting behind the wheel for the first time at 8 years old in a cart. How much did you grow up watching this level of racing that you're getting to compete in now? I mean, how much did you grow up watching NASCAR and that kind of thing, or was it more so just competing at the local level and keeping up with what was going on at the local level?
No, it was definitely a mix of both. I grew up since I was a little kid racing go-karts, and on the weekends during my free time, I'd sit down and my dad would always have the NASCAR race on. So it was something I've watched my whole life and the Daytona 500 my whole life. So getting the opportunity to then be able to go and race there and step foot in that facility for the past 5 years now has been a feeling I can't even explain. And it's something I didn't think would be possible when I was 8 years old watching it on the TV at my house.
Yeah, well, you've obviously had success there. I mean, I didn't watch the entire race, but I watched the last 25 laps or so at Daytona this year. I caught a little bit of that race last year, and the last 2 years at least, you've finished top 20. So to me, I mean, that's really impressive. How do you feel about just where you're at career wise right now, as you've been here, racing ARCA series for 4 or 5 years now? I mean, how do you feel about kind of where you're at and where you're going in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, and over the course of the last 5 years, we've definitely learned and we've grown a lot as a team. We're not the most well-off team there is in the series, but definitely we've improved a lot over the course of these last 5 years. And I can it's safe to say we feel we have the confidence to go and win these races when we show up to Daytona or Talladega now. We've Each year we've improved our position. Last year we had two top tens at the drafting tracks. So we had high expectations going into Daytona this year, and unfortunately had a little bit of mishap on lap one with collecting some damage. But we'll go into Talladega coming up in April with the same expectations as we did for Daytona, and that's to go and win the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's circle back to Daytona, but I want to ask about the paint scheme. Obviously, you're in the midst of still being a student while you're juggling this, which is impressive by itself. But how did the NDSU paint scheme come to fruition, and how did you decide on how did you get a chance to do that? How did you decide that you were going to do that, especially as you're going to the biggest tracks on the circuit?
I think it would started last year. We had a blank car heading to Daytona last year, and we were kind of tossing some ideas around, and we thought, well, let's just reach out, see if NDSU would be on board on wanting to step into the racing world and get exposure on the biggest stage in NASCAR. So I had reached out to a couple of people through NDSU, and I found the right person that could get me in contact with getting the logo and the name on the car, and we some conversations sparked from there. They loved the idea. They wanted to give it a try, and after Daytona, I think it was a huge hit. And conversations kept on going, and we felt like it's a great deal for myself and my team, and also NDSU, and just bringing exposure to Fargo and North Dakota as a whole in a different way that hasn't really been in our area for like racing. Fargo's not really a racing industry. It's we're known for our football, and North Dakota is known for football. So just getting exposure through a different platform and a whole different area of people was kind of the goal, and I feel like we're really hitting that mark.
Yeah, such a unique thing, and I think it's cool to see. And now you have a diecast car that I've seen that's come out with the NDSU logo on it, which I think is super awesome. It's cool to have that kind of keepsake for yourself and for other people as well. How much whenever you go to the track and you're talking to so many people that are obviously not from North Dakota or maybe even the Midwest at all. I mean, how much feedback are you getting on the car and the paint scheme and that kind of thing?
People love it. It's turned out to be great, and from last year to this year, we showed up this year, and there's Bison fans in Daytona, and that was something really cool to see, that it grew that much to where we were seeing people travel, and maybe they were local to Florida, maybe they weren't, but seeing the NDSU colors and the logo in Florida for this weekend was really cool, and especially getting the diecasts now. I think an NDSU diecast car, that's something no one has, and this opportunity to get one is it's pretty slim. I don't think any more are going to get made. So if you can get your hands on one, you will be one of few that gets that chance to have a NDSU car.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, we mentioned the fact that you're still a student and you're an engineering student. It's I don't want to diminish other people's majors, but I mean, an engineering student like that's not the easiest gig in the world to carry out while you're balancing this. And at the same time, you're in a place like you mentioned where racing is obviously popular during the summer months, but you only have so many months
Yep.
out of the year that you can race. So, what is that juggling act like for you, just between being a student, but also having to travel so much to get to where you want to go in terms of being in the racing world?
It takes a lot of time management and using my time I have available to my advantage. I'm actually on campus right now in between classes. So it's that juggling act of finding times where I can get my schoolwork done and then also prepare for each race. It's been tough, but I've been able to kind of learn how I can manage that. When I first started college and I was doing this racing deal with the NASCAR circuit, and it's gotten a lot easier as the years have gone by, but definitely the first year there was a lot of hiccups with managing classes, talking to professors, missing time and making up course assignments. So that balancing act has been definitely a factor I've had to overcome and get used to, but it's kind of worked itself out now as I've gone through the years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you look ahead, I know that the NDSU you'll be doing the NDSU thing again for Talladega. That's still a little bit down the road. W- where are you where are you at in terms of your racing career? I mean, you've been doing this for 5 years. Is this what you would have envisioned when you started 5 years ago, or what is kind of your vision in terms of where this goes for a kid that's from West Fargo that's maybe a little bit outside of the normal racing world?
Certainly, I definitely didn't see myself going this far when we first started it. It's been pretty surreal to me that I'm on year 5 now and I've had the chance to go and do these things for this long. And I'm kind of using this education here at NDSU with a mechanical engineering background to, I wouldn't say fall back on, but if I can't make driving work for my lifelong career, I want to stay in the racing industry and use my education to go work for a NASCAR team or do something in the racing industry because that's always been my passion. So if when I graduate here in May, if I can't make the driving gig work, I'll stay in the industry and I'll at least be working on them and living out my dream in a different way.
How much did choosing engineering, how much did racing play a factor in that? I mean, have you just always really been into cars? How much do you work on your own car, have a hand in, what's going on with your own car?
Yeah, it's I've grown up since I was little working on my own stuff, whether that was go-karts or sprint cars in the local area. Me and me and my brother have always been super hands-on with the racing and working on our own cars and repairing them every week. So I love the hands-on aspect of it. I love cars, I love racing, and I wanted to stay local at the time when I was going to college because we were racing locally with sprint cars and go-karts. So I thought, what better than mechanical engineering than working on cars and being able to expand my knowledge and education on something I love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we mentioned the fact that you're a few years into this, and so now you've gotten to the point where you've gotten to race Daytona a few times, you've gotten to race Talladega a few times. So, how does that change your approach as you go into another year of this, where you're saying, "Okay, I know how Daytona drives, I know how Talladega drives." How does it just change, maybe your mindset as much as anything as you go into another year of this with more familiarity?
Yeah, you can use your education and the things you've learned to really understand the car more and what it's doing and why it's doing it. And it just helps giving my crew feedback at the races, whether that's what I'm feeling in the seat of the car and understanding what the changes they're making instead of kind of blind guessing what I'm telling my crew. So if I can tie into what I feel into the words I'm giving my crew as far as feedback, that helps a ton in the handling of the race car and our overall performance in the race car.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last thing before you get out of here, a couple of rapid fire questions that we try to do with everybody when we have the time. First thing that comes to mind for you whenever I ask the question, favorite track that you've ever raced at?
I gotta say Talladega.
Okay,
Talladega is
why?
one of my favorite places. It's so big, it's fast, it's the fastest place we go to. Um, and just the adrenaline. Your Talladega's known for the chaos and the speed, and I kind of like that going to a racetrack. It gives excitement, it builds up the nerves. Everyone, it's just the atmosphere of Talladega's electric.
What's one track that you haven't raced at on the big circuit, the NASCAR circuit that people would be familiar with that you would really like to, that would be at the top of your list to race at?
I would have to say probably Homestead in Miami. We get a chance as race car drivers if you have a sim, you get to practice sim racing before each track. And one of my favorite tracks I've been able to test on with the sim is Homestead, and it's such a cool, neat place. It's different than a lot of other tracks you can go to, and now the NASCAR finale is being moved there, probably for that reason. So it's that would be a bucket list track, would be to go to Homestead and race the NASCAR finale.
How many hours do you spend on a simulator in a week?
Gearing up to a race, I would say a couple hours a day for 2 weeks. I try to get if school allowed, and I have a job too. So if I can fit a couple hours in a day between school and work, lead a couple weeks leading up to the race, it's pretty really beneficial.
Who's your favorite driver in NASCAR that you either grew up watching or favorite driver right now that you're watching the most closely right now?
I grew up watching Jeff Gordon. I was a big Jeff Gordon fan. And now that I drive, it's hard to say that I have a favorite driver because kind of everyone is competition. I've had the opportunity to race against a lot of really good guys that I have watched and grown up with or grown up watching. So it's been cool to have the opportunity to race against some of those guys, but now it's when you're the one in the driver's seat, it's kind of hard to pick out a favorite driver you have and cheer for.
Yeah, I understand that. It's been a lot of fun watching Tyler Reddick win 2 races in a row, though, and see Michael Jordan right there on the side. That's been pretty cool to watch the last couple of
Absolutely.
weeks. But Bryce, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for taking some time out of a very busy schedule to sit down and chat about your career and how things are going. Certainly exciting to follow along with, and can't wait to watch some more as things keep going up for you, man.
I appreciate you guys and taking the time to sit down and interview with me. It's been really cool, and I love doing these things, sitting down and just talking to people about the races. So it's thank you guys.
Absolutely. Have a good rest of your week, man. Talk to you later. All right, that's Bryce Haugberg, the NDSU student racing in the ARCA Menard series. Certainly a great career that he's had already in just 5 years, and the fact that he's made a career out of it while he's balancing being an engineering student. I mean, certainly not something I could have done. But the fact that he's able to do that while he's balancing racing in the ARCA Menard series and getting a chance to go to these tracks like Daytona and Talladega and all those kind of things, just an incredible journey, starting out from, getting behind a go-kart wheel at 8 years old to now getting ready to graduate from college and getting a chance to do that at such a high level. So it'll be a few weeks now. I believe it's about a month and a half before he gets a chance to race at Talladega, but we'll certainly be keeping an eye out for that as he approaches that. So best of luck to Bryce, and we certainly appreciate him joining us today. But we're going to kind of shift gears into basketball, college basketball, winding up this weekend in the regular season, at least in our area. And what a fantastic weekend of basketball. North Dakota State sweeping the regular season conference titles for the Summit League, taking the top seeds into the Summit League tournament. That's a fantastic storyline to follow the best seasons that they've had at this level since they've transitioned to this level. Certainly fun to see what those guys are doing on the east side of the state, but right here on the west side of the state, we've got a lot of good basketball being played. Bismarck State College women, their first season in NAIA, and they've qualified for the Frontier Conference tournament. They're going to be the 8th seed as they go into the Frontier Conference tournament in Butte in the coming week. And so just the fact that they're in the conversation for that, I think, is a good first step for that program as they make this jump from, being a JUCO school to being into a 4-year program, but excited for them and for them to just get a chance to be on that stage in the first year of being in the NAI and the Frontier Conference, I think is huge for them. And then the University of Mary. We've talked a ton about the University of Mary this year, and they are getting a lot of high praise in the regional rankings for Division II basketball, which is one thing, but they've also gotten the 4 seed heading into the NSIC tournament this coming week, and they'll get a chance to go down to Sioux Falls after a bye, so not having to play that first round game on campus or either on the road to have to get your way into Sioux Falls, I think is one thing that's really big and is a great step for the Marauders program. So with that, we're going to get ready to bring Rick Newman in here, and excited to ask him just about that. The biggest difference between not having to worry about that first game that you have and being able to jump right into going to Sioux Falls is obviously a huge thing for the program as they split the end of the regular season series here over the course of the weekend in Bismarck. Wrapped up the regular season with a loss to Jamestown on Saturday, but now the focus shifts to the postseason. And so with that, Rick, I was just talking about the difference between having to worry about this first round game in the NSIC tournament versus just getting to pack your stuff and going to Sioux Falls. I mean, getting that bye as being the 4 seed, first off, just how big is that? Knowing that you get a little extra rest, you get a little extra time under your belt, and you've punched your ticket to the Pentagon, knowing that you don't have to worry about that first game.
Well, Luke, I think Saturday's a perfect example of why that's important, right? Because crazy things happen in the game of basketball, right? Imagine if we go 0 for 12 from the 3-point line and 5 for 32 in general over the course of 2 quarters in a home playoff game. You tell me things don't get a little wonky there, right? And I've seen that firsthand too. One of my number one coaching loss of all time is a home playoff defeat. 8-9 years ago, something like that, against Wayne State with Gabby Bowl and Cassie Askvig and Lauren Rotunda as some really good players for us from the state of North Dakota. And we spurted out to a quick lead against Wayne State. It got close, and in the last 2 minutes, everything went wrong and everything went right. Like, we executed a late game play, we executed a foul up scenario, we executed a switch, we got the ball to the right person, she got fouled, and we made 2 free throws. And at the end of the day, some bad luck, an unfortunate missed call, and Wayne State hit a half-court shot to beat us and send us home, right? And we didn't get a chance to go to the Pentagon. And fortunately for us, that's the last time we haven't been there and been in the quarterfinals of our league tournament. But that was a gut-wrencher going into that locker room, because you just never know. We were supposed to get everybody back the following year, and we had injuries, and Gabby Bull never played another game for the Marauders. Her knees just wouldn't let her. So that's a long story right there, Luke. But that memory just sticks in my mind, and I wake up still in a cold sweat once or twice a year thinking about that game. So again, Saturday, struggles against Jamestown. That's a perfect example of why you just want to get there. And so now we do get a week to heal up. And, everybody's sore, everybody's tired at this time of the year, but to have a few days to kind of recharge the batteries, get excited about the postseason, and just plan our trip and watch a game, I think is invaluable, especially with this group. I mean, again, we're dealing with Bergen Kinderbrew has played and won a game in the Pentagon for us as a true freshman coming off the bench. Nobody else has done that. And so I think the nerves are going to be real. And so, again, to just go down there, watch a couple of games in the tournament, and play on Sunday morning is going to be invaluable for our group.
Well, I was going to ask you about Jamestown eventually, but I'll just ask you about that Saturday game, because I was glued to my phone watching it on Saturday afternoon, and you're down 10 with like 5.5, 6 minutes to go, and battle your way back into it. I think you had a play there at the end of regulation to have an opportunity, and then it ends up going to overtime, and things just don't go your way in overtime. But the fact that you were down 10 that late in the game and were still able to come back, I mean, what does that say about just the position that this group can put themselves in, even when you have such a poor shooting performance maybe earlier in the game?
Right. And I think that is the testament to this group. We've had some clunkers on the road. Saturday was our first clunker at home. But in all of those games when we've been down, we have been able to make a run and either get back to even or get back to close. And again, I think that would stand as to why we haven't been blown out this year. And so I do admire that about our group. They don't quit. They keep going. And we do have some spurt ability. We're kind of in about a month-long funk shooting the ball from 3 for the longest time. We have been so good all year. And that's why Saturday's my fault. I mean, we've been so good. Like, as a coach, you always want to prepare for the unknown, right? And so it becomes known, you know what you're doing. But we haven't needed anything against a zone other than a couple of base sets. And, if you would have looked at a week ago from this Saturday, I put together a clinic tape for the summer, Luke, because we played unbelievable against the zone at Crookston. And then a week later, the Lord humbles you, and we face a zone and look like Coach Newman has no clue what's going on, and his players have never faced one. And that's sports. That's the game of basketball. That's life in general, just when you think you have things rolling. And because, credit to Jamestown for making that change. We scored 31 points in the first quarter against their man-to-man and thought, here we go. And we didn't get 31 total in the 3 quarters after that. So it just was one of those days you can't explain it. Your heart breaks for your squad, for Cassie as a senior, but I think then you have to try to reset your mind, and I'm worse at it than our players. I'm still, in my feels today, Luke, talking to you, but we're excited to have a new season, a chance to go again to the Pentagon, because we don't want to take that for granted, but we are also excited that we have a new standard, right? Like just getting there now, we can't take that for granted ever. But we have bigger aspirations, and that is to play longer there, like we did a couple of years ago, but to be knocking on that national tournament door, which we were coming into last week. Now we need a bunch of help, right? And we've got to go win some games ourselves. And that's the biggest disappointment from our result on Saturday is like we had a real chance to control our own destiny to make the NCAA tournament, and now we don't. But again, this group, we won 3 games in a row to start the year in Billings, and you had me on this show, Luke, right? So that's where we're hoping that a repeat of that happens, or at least we go out and play really well and enjoy this last opportunity together if it is our last opportunity. But if it isn't, we want to, just try to stay together as long as we can, because this group is really close and been one of my favorite all times as a coach.
As you get ready for the next week and trying to prepare for Sioux Falls and that kind of thing, obviously there's a game before that, so you've got a couple of practices that you're going to be just trying to get your own team better before you even know who you're playing. But how will you watch those first round games? Will you just watch the Crookston Southwest Minnesota game, or will you watch all of them? Will you guys watch it together as a team? What's your approach there as you try to figure out who you're going to play and then figure out what the next step is as you get ready for Sioux Falls?
Well, I think the fun part is if it's Crookston that wins, we've got some recency against them, having just played them, last weekend. So I think that would be an important piece. We've played them twice on the year. SMSU is kind of a team where we've been really going back and forth the last few years with them and been pretty even. And last year they got us a couple times when they had the player of the year. The year before we got them a couple times when we had the player of the year. This year we didn't play very well down there on the road, but still made it a game in the second half. So I think our girls would be excited for either opportunity to have a little redemption or to go against a more familiar opponent from this year. But you're right. We lifted today as a team, kind of again, then take the rest of the day off. Tomorrow we'll come back with some shooting and things just to get the legs going. Wednesday we'll have a decent, short, quick practice, and then we'll grab some food and we'll come over to my house. We'll try to put a few TVs up, and we'll focus on the SMSU UMC game the most. But we'll have some alternative viewing options to watch the other games that are going to. And then when we know our opponent, we'll spend some time Thursday and Friday with actual prep, and then we'll head down on to Sioux Falls on Friday. So it's a fun week. It's exciting to be together and to watch these games and just get that tournament feel started for us.
Knowing that you're going in as the 4 seed, you get the bye, but like you said, you get a chance to watch some games before you have to play a game there and just get a feel for what the atmosphere is like. How important is that just to get your girls in the building and be able to say, hey, do you see what this is going to feel like, especially when you're playing on a Sunday where there's probably going to be more people in attendance in terms of just fans and that kind of thing that's going to make it feel bigger?
Well, I mean, I've been able to experience this once when we made the NCAA tournament when I was an assistant coach with Coach Fridley. The NCAA tournament, the regional that year was in Wayne, Nebraska, because they were the number 1 team in our region. And, there were 4 people in the gym outside of the Wayne game. And we did not use the Pentagon at that point in time for the Northern Sun tournament. We've been all over with some different formula, but the last 10 years or so that the tournament has been there, I will tell you this, Luke, from hearing from my colleagues who've made the NCAA tournament, and I'd sure like to be able to have firsthand agreement with this, but they will tell you to a person that this is the tournament, because all the teams, men and women, that make it to Sioux Falls stay at the downtown Holiday Inn. Their staff takes care of you. They've got the tournament boards. You get gifts in your hotel room. You're eating with all your other teams. You're going to the Pentagon, using their facilities to practice, to watch film. And then you're just getting the best teams in our league together, and you get to sit and watch them all play in the building. Their video production is fantastic. Everyone's excited about what is this year's pre-starting lineup tourney video look like. I mean, it's just first class from the moment we had a Zoom today until the titles are crowned on on Tuesday. I mean, it's just, you just want to be there. Like, you feel like you are with the elite of your league. And like I said, a lot of times our coaches after that will say, when you go to the NCAA tournament, because it's a host site, like, man, if you're not the host team, no. And Sioux Falls is a great town. They're basketball driven. Like you mentioned, there's going to be casual fans there, but the rest of the league has traveled there to support. So, I mean, it's the best tournament in the country at the Division II level, because the way they treat you and the way our league makes it feel like an experience. It's just like, man, I don't know what we do. We've been there 8 years in a row. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't ever want to know what it's like to not be there again, but it's just, it's a special time. So I'm really happy for our girls that they get to experience that, and going down, having a great team meal on Friday night to celebrate the success that we've had. And then Saturday to watch teams play. Like I said, you kind of get settled in. I can't describe it. It's just really fun.
You mentioned that, before this past weekend, you guys were in the conversation in the regional rankings, and we're getting praise from that aspect and that kind of thing. And now you've got to go out and win, probably 3 games to have a chance to get into the tournament, into the NCAA tournament. But for you, in terms of just knowing what a successful season looks like for you guys. I know it's successful to get to the Pentagon, but I know that, you're wanting to take it a step further and that kind of thing. But as you try to narrow it down, what's like the thing that's at the top of your whiteboard of UMary has to execute X to be able to be in the conversation a week and a half from now for an NCAA tournament bid?
I think we have to get back to shooting the ball better. It's just been an issue for us here in the last few weeks, and we've been able to overcome it in most of those games because of our ability to get to the free throw line, and that helps tremendously. We also have, Allison Unland around the rim, who, is second in the conference in field goal percentage. So we've been able to overcome it in most games, but in those ones where we lost, the outside shot has been probably the biggest reason why. Now, prime example, when we clinched the bye at Northern State, we did that going 1 for 14 from the 3-point line, but we were 32 of 36 from the free throw line. And again, Saturday, couldn't get to the free throw line because of the zone defense we were facing, but couldn't make enough outside shots to overcome that, right? When we were lost in overtime at Moorhead State, we were 21% from the 3-point line, and nobody's trying to miss them, right? Like, so, I mean, it's just one of those where, it's probably on me. I told you when we talked a while ago, like, I put a heck of a schedule together for this group. We've been all over the country. We've played as many games as legally allowed by the NCAA. And I was doing that to challenge this group, honestly, to prepare for next year when we, could in theory have a really great squad coming back. Well, then we had such great fortune early that now we're greedy, right? Like, Luke, if you'd have told me at the beginning of the year, you and I, when we came back from Billings 3-0, and you sat here and we said, hey, if your season looks like second in the North, 4th overall, program tying record of wins, NCAA tournament conversation, should we sign up now? And I'd have been like, heck yeah, right? We all would have. But then we just kept winning. And so then you, like said, you get like, wow, this is your chance, girls. Like, we're right here. And then to have a little, little hiccup here that it's heartbreaking, Luke. But again, we still have an opportunity to go out and play the games at the Pentagon. And this team is good enough to win 3 games in 3 days. We'll need a little bit of fortune. That always happens in the postseason play. But I'm hoping that these next few days we can come to the grips of reality and be like, hey, this is something that we can do. And so I think that's where our mindset's got to be. And we've got to, it starts with the head coach. I've got to get it ready too, and get it going. And I'm excited to see our girls tomorrow practice and get back to work.
All right, couple of quick hitter questions before you get out of here. First thing that comes to mind, or the quickest answer that you have that comes to mind, how many suits do you take to Sioux Falls?
I'm going to take 3. Great question. I need to tell everyone, right? Like, pack for a week. That's our plan. So I'll take a different outfit for every day. And if I conveniently forget one, I'll just run over to Halberstadt's there and use my redeem my rewards points. How's that?
That's good. You mentioned that when you get down there on Friday night, that you'll have a team meal, a nice team meal to kind of celebrate the season. Is there a certain spot in Sioux Falls that you go to every year, or that's a must go to whenever you're in Sioux Falls for a meal?
Yeah, check social media. We will go gouge and gorge ourselves at Carnival. That is our team tradition. We go there. It's a Brazilian steakhouse, and they just keep bringing the meat and the shrimp and the cinnamon pineapple, and it's an all world experience. And if we've had a really great year, we'll add some dessert, which I think we will see happen this year. But that is our team tradition, and it's unlike any others, and it makes a lot of people in our league jealous. So I'm very fortunate that our administration is supporting and that it's on board and that we can make that happen. Because yep, they've already talked about it, right? Getting ready for the meat sweats, and then what sweats they're going to wear to the restaurant to make sure they have enough room. So that's our exciting plan for Friday night.
That's good. I like that. Last one. What's your favorite Pentagon memory?
It'd have to be 2 years ago when we played for our first Northern Sun Championship. That was a special group led by Lexi Schneider and Megan Zander, and Mariah McKeever was a first timer for us, but you have her there was great. Addison Roselle, Riley Watcha, Mohawk Kim, just a bunch of dedicated kids to our program. Zoe Veldy, like to get there, those guys that's all they knew was the Pentagon. But to win a few games there, the semifinal win over Duluth is my favorite win of all time, because it was like 87-82, and just Hoopers hooping. They were great, we were great, and we just made one more play than they did. That's my favorite win of all time. But the experience of 2 years ago playing for the Northern Sun Championship, that's my favorite Pentagon moment.
Well, hopefully there's a new one to add to the books here in a couple of weeks. But Rick, thanks so much, man. Always fun to catch up, and best of luck as you head to Sioux Falls.
Well, thanks, Lou, for having me on again, and for all you do, man. What tremendous. We're blessed here in Bismarck and at UMary with guys like you that will continue to cover us and spread the good news of Marauders women's basketball and our athletes. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Rick. Thanks so much. Have a good day. All right, that's Rick Newman, the head women's basketball coach for the University of Mary, the number 4 seed in the NSIC tournament, and definitely a chance to make some noise and go on a run here. Like Rick said, he wasn't shy about the fact that they put themselves in a really good position coming into this past weekend, where they were in the conversation in terms of what was going on with the regional rankings and that kind of thing. And that loss to Jamestown probably set some of that stuff back a little bit. But there's definitely a potential that they can get back in that NCAA tournament conversation. With a couple of wins, 3 wins, most definitely you're in the NCAA tournament. 2 wins, I think you're probably in the conversation and have a chance to be right there. But UMary's going to need a big performance as they go down to Sioux Falls, and definitely think this team is perfectly capable of it. I think the fact that Rick highlighted, we expected this time next year to be in this position or better. It kind of seems like it's a year ahead of schedule almost. And so I think that says a lot about where the University of Mary women's program is at right now, with just such great players that they have. Obviously, Bergen Kennebrew has an argument to be the best player in the conference, if not, one of the best players in the country, certainly. And there's so many great players around her that I think UMary has positioned themselves to have a favorable run here in the NSIC tournament, and excited just to see how that unfolds. Obviously, Minot State going to be battling their way to try to get to Sioux Falls as well. A men's program coming off that fantastic run that they had a year ago, trying to get back to that point. So a lot of fun NSIC tournament action to come here in Bismarck and around Western North Dakota. We've got tons of great high school basketball action happening. We've got region tournaments that have already tipped off today, happening today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and we're going to have tons of coverage throughout the week on those. Geraldine's already at a game right now. I'm running out of here at 3 o'clock to go to another game at St. Mary's with the Class B Region 4 tournament. So there's so much fun postseason basketball action, and this is really the height of the winter sports season and the postseason, and so it makes it one of the most fun times of year. With that being said, this is the week of the state hockey tournament, which will be happening in Fargo this year. Kind of threw me off because I've been so used to Grand Forks, and I don't know why I was in the mindset of Grand Forks until literally Saturday, and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't Grand Forks this week. This is this year. This is in Fargo. But we have some good girls hockey stories planned for this week. Obviously, had a ton of boys hockey coverage over the course of the weekend with the WDA tournament in Bismarck. And one team that's going to be looking to make a lot of noise on the girls' side is Legacy Bismarck girls. They're coming off that fantastic run last year where they won the state championship. Obviously, the year before that, Century made the improbable run as the 8th seed to get to the state championship game before ultimately falling. And I think the girls' side of the hockey bracket is just so compelling. But Legacy Bismarck trying to repeat coming off their first state championship in program history. And somebody that was a big part of that championship program last year that's now moved on and is in college is Kate Lemoyne, somebody that I talked about a little bit earlier here. She was a fantastic softball player for the Legacy Sabres. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I thought that she was going to go play college softball somewhere. And to be fair, I think she thought she was going to go play college softball somewhere. And through some conversations with friends and things like that, she ended up deciding to go play club hockey at Augustana down in South Dakota, and she certainly made the best of the opportunity. She is one of the top 10 points getters, point scorers, and goal scorers in the country right now in ACHA hockey, and I certainly felt that was worth talking to her and catching up and just kind of figuring out, like, hey, how did we get to this point of you being one of the best hockey players in the country in ACHA college hockey? And so I got a chance to catch up with Kate just a couple of days ago, and so we're going to run that interview for you now, and just cool to hear her perspective on where she was at with Legacy Bismarck hockey and how her role was kind of adapted as a hockey player to now literally being one of the best in the country, and she's only a freshman, which I think is really cool as well. So here's Kate Lemoyne, former Legacy Bismarck girls hockey player, now playing for the Augustana Vikings. Obviously, last year being a part of such a good team, and now getting a chance to play at this level. I mean, what's it been like, just number one, to get the opportunity to play college hockey in some capacity and be able to continue to play hockey?
Yeah, it's been super surreal, the whole journey. Of course, being on that state championship team, I can say that's a lot of my success has come from growing up in Bismarck and having a great team and great teammates to be supported by, and then to make that jump. And the only reason why I'm here is because of one of my teammates, Avery Sick. She said that I should do it. I should just go for it, because I wasn't going to play college hockey. I was going to go to a community, play softball. And to make the jump to playing college hockey, I realized that I didn't want to be done after we made that big tournament, and decided to come on over. I got the great opportunity to play with some of my favorite teammates I've ever had up here. And yeah, it's been super amazing, super fun.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that because I remember calling your name on highlights for softball a ton. So how did you decide that you wanted to go play hockey somewhere instead of going somewhere maybe closer to home and playing softball?
Mm-hmm. Obviously, softball, my love has always been with hockey and softball. It's hard to say that I'm done with softball. I don't want to be done. That's probably been one of the hardest things, because I played softball for, I don't even know, a long time, along with hockey. So being a dual sport athlete all through high school has been super fun. I had a whole bunch of opportunities through the summers to play softball, and obviously high school, one year of middle school for softball, and I didn't want to be done, but having the opportunity to come up here, of course it is a little bit farther away from home than I want. It's hard. I've only been home twice, so that's been hard. But I have a lot of friends up here, and it's it's been like home up here. Also, obviously I always want to go back home, but it's fun. So yeah.
Well, from a hockey perspective, could you have ever imagined that this year would go the way it has for you personally in
Oh,
terms of statistics and success?
oh no, I thought this was a long shot. I've never been like much of a standout in hockey. So having so many points and having so much success this year with my line mates and my team, it's been so surreal, so unbelievably amazing. I'm super thankful for the opportunity that I've had, and yeah, it's been so great. I wish that we would be able to make it to nationals this year, but it's pretty much a long shot. But I'm thankful for this year. I mean, we're only second year of this school or the club hockey being a thing. So hopefully in the next upcoming couple of years that we'll be able to make that jump and be there. So yeah.
What's that been like for you as somebody who wasn't necessarily in the limelight as a goal scorer a ton in the past? How have you kind of embraced that now and the change of what your game is kind of grown into? How have you kind of embraced it and just tried to enjoy it as much as possible at the same time, even though it's something
Yeah.
different?
It's been super cool. Of course, I have a lot of family that have been supported me throughout this whole time. I have my grandparents went on a cruise and ended up bragging about me, and I got a text from my grandma the other day that they were just on a walk in Arizona, and all of a sudden they started talking to someone and was like, "My granddaughter." But no, it's been amazing. It's been super weird, to say the least, because I mean, I've never been able to say like I'm top 10 in goal scorers in the nation. Like it's pretty great. I mean, I wouldn't be able to be in that top 10 without my line mates being there, giving me the perfect passes to bank it in. So yeah, it's been crazy.
For you guys as a team, I mean, you mentioned that this is only the second year of the
Mhm.
club program there, and obviously, I know men's hockey there has been on a steady incline too. So,
Mhm.
what's the hockey community like there?
It's fun. Growing up, you always looked up to those like college players and stuff. Of course, I looked up to Britta Curl. But yeah, you walk around campus and you see all these hockey players who are in running for Hobie Baker, and I mean, you have classmates who are scoring, and you see in weekends like you're up against the glass and you just see them and you're like, oh, like those guys are in my class. Like it's super cool. It's super weird, but yeah, it's been awesome. It's it's weird having people that are probably going to be like a couple one maybe in the National Hockey League. That's super cool.
Uh, Obviously, you mentioned playing at Legacy Bismarck and just
Mhm.
you guys going on such a special run last year to win a state title and that kind of thing. I
Mhm.
mean, how much did the success there kind of help prepare you for what you've been able to do in college so far?
It's I would say a lot of it came from there. I loved my team down there. I over Christmas break I was able to practice with them a few times, just skate around. Obviously not trying to take too much reps from them because I mean they're having a standout season too. So of course they're having state coming up. So I'm praying that they can do the best that like even better than we did last year. But yeah, no, it's been super surreal to go from there to now playing the college level and having a good season. So yeah.
As your first year kind of winds down now and you've had so much success. I mean, where do you go from here in terms of trying to build on this and trying to, one up it in a way for next season as you roll into the sophomore campaign?
Yeah, I that's one thing I've thought about a lot because to start out with 44 points, I think I have now. It's hard to top that, especially as a freshman. I mean, to go up from here is kind of crazy to think that that's what I have to do. Um, of course, we'll have some more players come in, and hopefully that'll boost everyone all around. But yeah, I think I'm going to be working on a lot of things over the summer and like shooting, speed, all the stuff, trying to get myself to the level that I want to be at. Because I know that I'm never good enough. If you think of wanting to play college hockey, you always got to be better one day at a time. But it's been super unreal to have such a great campaign, obviously, and we've won quite a few games, but we've also lost a few. But the losses don't change like how the team is in the locker room. So I'm just thankful that we've had such a great season overall as the second year. Yeah.
Like kind of the last thing I want to ask you about is obviously there's, ACHA teams and stuff like that around here that people see, but what is the level of women's club college hockey at, from a competitiveness standpoint and what you've been able to experience? I mean, has it surprised you any, or what's been the best part about that in your freshman year?
Um, I feel like the competitiveness is there. I feel like it's always going up. Um, Depending on who you play, I mean, there's some teams who are a little bit lower level. There's some teams that are high level. Our first weekend of the year was when we played Jamestown, and that was kind of it was an eye opener for me because I wasn't used to the 20-minute periods, along with the icing, and then you can't change. I was like, that killed me right away. But then just getting used to it has helped a lot. Um, the Some conditioning and practice helps, but yeah, I mean, competitiveness is. I was right there. I felt that it'll always go up, especially through all the years of now teams coming into the league and other teams leaving, going up more. But yeah, no, it's been awesome.
That was Kate Lemoyne, now an Augustana Viking. She graduated from Legacy High School and played on that Legacy Bismarck state championship team a year ago that won their first state championship in program history. And Legacy Bismarck will definitely be in the conversation this weekend to try to repeat that. But it was a lot of fun catching up with Kate and talking about her college career. Someone chased me down at a hockey game to tell me about Kate and kind of what she's been doing in college. And so you know who you are, but I appreciate you coming in, literally chasing me down and telling me about it, because it was awesome to get a chance to talk to Kate about that and just kind of how much things have changed for her from an athletic standpoint and just in terms of her role and the kind of hockey player she is and all those kind of things. But Legacy Bismarck will play 6-seeded Davies in the first round of the tournament on Thursday. Mandan's the 7th seed. They've got to play against Grand Forks. Century's the 4 seed. They've got to play against West Fargo, so that's the 4-5 matchup. And then Minot's the 8th seed. They've got to take on Fargo North-South in the first game of the day on Thursday. We've got a couple of cool girls hockey stories planned for Tuesday and Wednesday this week, so be sure to check that out, because I think they're pretty cool and pretty unique stories that we're excited to share about Legacy Bismarck and Century, as well as the Mandan program. But we appreciate you joining us this afternoon here on the Dakota Drive. I really appreciate the guests that we had today between Bryce, Rick, and Kate. So much fun to talk to all three of them and get their perspective on each of their situations right now. And this is the best time of the year. It's the busiest time of the year, but it's also the most fun time when it comes to athletics and so much postseason madness going on at the same time. And so that gets me excited to talk to these people and to talk to you guys about what we have coming ahead. But with that being said, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your Monday afternoon. We'll see you right back here on the Dakota Drive from 2 to 3 p.m. Central next Monday. See you then.